welcome back to Two Husbands, Two Wives.
Yeah.
All right. If you missed that first episode, go back. We are on episode 2. Excited to have a new discussion today. Just want to welcome you back. My name is Erica.
What's going on? It's your boy Sam.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Kai.
And it's the most loved, most hated Steph Lamont.
So like we said, welcome back. Sam, why don't you let us know what was the idea behind this podcast? What made you want to get started?
Oh, for sure. Honestly, this idea for this came to mind, I would say, sometime last year. Towards like October, around that time. And I would definitely say that it was birthed out of the pandemic. So as we were all at home in quarantine, stuck in our houses, I just remember like scrolling through social media, just seeing a lot of content surrounding relationships, right? And everybody was talking about how they're going to learn a new instrument. They're going to come out of this pandemic just like 10 times smarter, like Brainiac, big. Like, so, but then I also saw other, like more content on relationships, and how everybody was just saying like, relationships ain't for me. Relationships are trash. Don't want to waste my time, ball and chain. So around October, I spoke with Kai, because if you don't know, Kai's an influencer, and Kai is pretty good
At Kai Charisse.
Okay, shameless plug. So, I brought the idea to Kai, and she was down for it, simply because I just wanted to have a conversation simply about marriage, parenting, and God. And that's really what this is about, simply because I feel like there's not enough content out there that talks about marriage in a real way, in a way where it's either not being like idolized or over dramatized, or like, marriage is being a ball and chain. So that's not what it is. Like, you can honestly have fun, be yourself, be your best self while still married. And so that's just how this started. And I just want us to have an authentic conversation, because I think that we're dope people.
True.
I mean, like, I think that you, Erica,
True.
beautiful, amazing.
I also think too that we naturally have these type of conversations
That's a
all
fact.
the time, so
That's
it
a
just
fact.
made sense for us to
Right.
do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
True.
All right. So for today's episode, first, even before I start that, I have a question for you guys. Do you feel like you could ever be like fully prepared for marriage? Just yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Just yes or no?
Yeah. Like, do you feel like you could be prepared for marriage before you get married?
No.
Okay.
Stephen?
I'm going to also second no.
Okay. So my question is, what were some things that you guys weren't prepared for? What were some of those expectations that you had that once you got into marriage, you were like, yeah, this wasn't what I was expecting? If any at all. Maybe it's perfect.
This.
She said maybe it's perfect. How much time you got?
Right.
You're perfect.
Yeah. So this question is just for the males.
I mean, because I think we're of one mind when discussing expectations.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
I think one of the things that. Oh, repeat the question again.
What were your expectations going into marriage? What weren't you prepared for?
What wasn't I prepared
Yes.
for? Okay, so I think what I wasn't prepared for was the idea that one woman would not be able and be willing to deal with all of this sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate. Sexual chocolate.
That boy good.
Well, coming to America. Sorry.
Nah. So on the real, I think my expectation of having one woman to be willing at any given moment to like fulfill all of my sexual needs at any given moment, that not being a thing was
At any
something,
given moment, that part.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right.
Okay, just clarifying.
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
I was like, let's get it right.
Right. Yep, that's what I said. Yeah, so I feel like yeah, not having that at any given moment was something that I wasn't prepared for, because when it started to happen, I was confused as to like how that could happen. But then here's the double whammy to that, right?
Not a double one.
Walk me
Look,
through this then.
This is the double whammy to that. I did an experiment, right? And I actually taped this. I journaled this through video, right? Where I challenged myself to write down 10, I think it was like 10 things that I felt like Kai could be doing better, or I wanted her to do, right? Not either or. Either I felt like she could do better, or I felt like I wanted her to do them, right? And then I wrote those down but like my honest viewpoint, my honest heart, right? And then after I did that,
sincerity.
then after I did that, I challenged myself for a duration of 2 weeks to do the 10 things that I wrote down on the list for Kai.
And how you do?
And I challenged myself to do those 10 things within the 2 weeks, and I failed miserably. So it was like it gave myself like an idea of like the expectations that I have on her, and how hard it is to fulfill them.
That's good.
But you see, and that's good. That's a beautiful, wonderful experiment. Honestly, that's very mature and introspective of you.
Yeah.
For me, I just expected sex and food. You feel what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, bro, like that's what I wanted. Like I like to eat.
On a consistent basis. Emphasis on the consistent.
Yeah, like multiple times a day. If I need to eat 3 times a day, then that should let you know how often. Before I got married, like I wanted to have sex, and
Multiple times a day.
Why not?
Working a full-time job.
The Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply." Right? I'm just fulfilling scripture,
Sam,
and so I mean, at the end of the day, right? That's what I wanted before I got married. You feel what I'm saying? But
can I also say that I think like movies is what makes people want that, because like they make it seem. I'll let you finish. But I feel like movies and
thanks,
like
babe.
media,
And so yeah, like I was saying, right? Like I wanted sex and food, like, and so, but through growing up, right? And I would also saying like being in relationship and in marriage, like that expectation quickly died. Not because Erica didn't fulfill those needs for me, right? Because my wife, she feeds me, like she can throw down. I really love your cooking. But I think that like I just had to mature in my expectations simply because that's not realistic. And like you said, like as far as like movies placing this unrealistic expectation on sex and also on marriage, right? Kind of going back to why we started this podcast in the first place. I just had to really just change my mindset, because even though this is the one person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, right? Loving, caring for, that's like, when I say loving, that means intimately, and also in every aspect of the word, right? I think that I also had to grow up to just realize that it's just not like that. Like there's more to life than those two things. And plus, like you said, Steph, like I be tired, bro. Like there are times where like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, this is about to happen, right? Like you know, people, y'all know y'all have that mood like in the middle of the day. But then by the time we get home, I finish cooking, Eric and I talk about our day. It's like, I think back to myself, I was like, oh yeah, like, but I'm too tired. I just want to go sleep. You feel what I'm saying? And so it's like,
that's why I ended up failing. Because a lot of the times that like, so one of the things I felt like, one of the things that I had on my list, right, was I felt like, cooking and cleaning, right? Cooking and cleaning is one of the things I had on my list. By the time I was finished doing a whole day work, then cook, clean, at this point, play with Cairo, right? do all of those things, and that was that, all of those things. Then I, get into bed. It's Mr. Nasty time. But I was too tired, bro. I was too tired. I ain't gonna lie. That's why that was like one of the categories that I failed in, because I was too tired. After doing everything that I wanted to do, or like all the things that I set out to do within the list that I made, I was too tired, bro.
Honestly, I think that is great. Hence why I said that I feel like that's like very mature of you to have looked at it in that way. Like, instead of placing the blame on Kai, like, why isn't Kai doing these things? For you to put yourself in her shoes for 2 weeks and try to fulfill the expectations that you have of her. I'm pretty sure that made you rearrange and adjust and make your expectations more realistic, because it's like, it's very easy on the outside looking in to be like, you should be doing this, why aren't you doing this, right? But then to actually be in the trenches and actually do it. 100%. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a humbling experience. And for myself, like, I know for myself, like, I love to clean. Like, I really enjoy cleaning. But then sometimes I'm like, yo, Erica, like, how can we pick this up? She's like, Sam, I just put the cup there. I'm like, yeah, but why don't you wash it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's like, but for me, I recognize that I have to, like, take a step back, because I like things a certain type of way and I'm built a certain type of way. Like, I can't expect my wife to be built that certain type of way too.
And what you're saying makes me think of like another expectation. I think in some way we could probably all say that we expected our partner to kind of be like us in some ways. So I think initially, like, you expected that as soon as I do this, I'm also gonna do this because that's what you do. Yeah. But I'm a different person, and so I think
you are a beautiful person.
Thanks. But I also think that is where our expectations and like things that we weren't prepared for is prepared for being married to someone who's like so different from us.
100%.
I didn't think that one of my expectations was that me and Stefan was never ever gonna argue. I thought married people just did not do that. Like, you would hear people say, like, when you get married, you're gonna go through trials and tribulations, and I'm like, like, yeah, like, that's them. That ain't gonna be me. That was us. I mean, I thought we were going to get into arguments, but I didn't think like I would want to kill you sometimes.
Wait. This is something I honestly have to ask you though.
Okay.
By the time that we got married, because we've been dealing with each other for...
I thought us getting married was going to change all of that.
Okay. All right. So that answers my question.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, so that was one of the expectations I had. And it's partially because growing up, everyone told me all the time that I live in like a Disney world. Everything is just rainbows and sunshine. Stefan used to tell me that all the time. So in my mind, that's how marriage was going to go. It was going to be like Beauty and the Beast. Well, no, that's a bad example. That's actually how it was. That's how it was. It was Beauty and the Beast in the beginning. But I thought it was going to be more like...
How was the Beauty?
Cinderella. I don't know. I don't know the characters.
Huh? Was I the Beauty?
Absolutely not. So that was one of my expectations. But I realized that married couples go through things just like any other couple. You learn each other. You learn how to compromise, which is also another expectation. I mean, something that I didn't know going into marriage, that you were literally going to have to compromise on everything. And when I say everything, I mean every single thing in your life you will have to compromise on. There are some things that clearly, like, foundation wise, you won't have to compromise on. But everything else is going to be a compromise, baby. I'm just here to tell you.
Because I will say this. This is one of the things that me and Kai had a conversation about before we got married is, in not too many words, Kai told me that she always wished that she was going to marry a guy that was a pushover. And that was just going to do whatever. That's why I said not so many words. She wished that she married a guy that was a pushover and just did whatever she wanted to do. And that makes a lot of sense now, because I'm going to be honest with you. Until we got married, I didn't really understand that you live in this type of world where everything is perfect and everything just goes the way that it's supposed. I didn't have that idea. I didn't have that picture of you. So when you said that, I didn't really believe it, but now I believe it.
I'm not gonna hold you, bro. You saying that, I was just like, wait, hold up. Because I didn't believe that about Erica either.
You think that I?
No. Wait, hold up. In the sense of like, Erica, like, her just having this like chill mentality. You feel what I'm saying? Where it's just like, so for instance, right? I remember like something happened where like a bag dropped outside or something like that. It was Arya's like diaper
Big
bag,
yeah.
and it dropped in like some dirty like murky water, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got a little puddle, bro. That was mud. Okay, and so I was like, yo, her bag fell. This is a baby's bag, right?
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, dang, I gotta wash this when I get home. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And when I close the door, I'm looking behind me, and Erica's smiling. And I'm like, what's up? She was like, just how we handle things differently. She was like, that happened last week to me. And I was like, a little dry. I was like, wait, what? And so honestly, like, I didn't know that she was like this chill. Like, something would be coming up. She'd be like, it'll get done. How have you gone through life and it just work out this way for you? But once again, it's like, yeah. And
But it did.
Yeah, but it did.
But it did.
Because, I mean, look what she got. You know what I'm saying? It worked out. All right, I'm gonna stop. And so, like, what, Erica? What about you? What were some expectations you had, or?
Mine is kind of similar to Kai. As far as like not expecting to argue so much, not expecting specifically me to be the reason for certain arguments. I just thought that we were gonna be able to like get along, and that the arguing phase was like just college because of the scene that we were in. But compromising, all that stuff, I think, was definitely something I was not expecting to have to do as much. I also expected that we would just kind of like deal with issues on the spot and never have to like revisit them. Like I had the mindset that like if we disagreed on something, we'll just handle it right now. Like that'll get fixed tonight. And so the first time that didn't happen, like it upset me that we weren't able to, like I thought that it was gonna,
that issue when we initially spoke about it.
I thought like it was really gonna like ruin our relationship because we didn't figure out the solution to the problem right then and there.
Wow, that's crazy because I feel like we had like a disagreement where essentially Kai was upset because she felt like I was just making it so that everything was going to go my way. Right? And it's interesting that was the take, because I feel like, for one, right, it makes me understand her frustration more, because the placement, right, her placement for her, and then based off of what I know about what we were just talking about, for her, the way things are supposed to go is supposed to be like perfect in her eyes. Like everything is supposed to be good. And I feel like for me, because she's the oldest. So she's used to having things go her way. Whereas with
the oldest sibling.
Yeah. So whereas with me, I'm the youngest sibling, and I'm not used to things having to go my way. So like I feel like that might play a part in the way that we interact with one another too. Because like I feel like I be feeling like, because I'm the youngest, sometimes I may be combative because I feel like I gotta stick up for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I had to do as the youngest. I gotta stick up for myself and prove to you guys that are older than me that this, you know what I mean? Like I could do it. Whereas with you, it's like, nah, it has to go this way, and that's the way it gotta go.
I honestly feel like it might be a woman thing too, because the other day we were hanging out with some of my friends, and we were talking about like various things, and some of them literally said out their mouth like, I just didn't expect like I would ever be wrong like in our relationship. I think women naturally, no offense, guys. You know, we're always taught that women are a little bit more there in the head. Like we grow at a higher rate than y'all.
That's true.
I mean, I feel like it's
scientific.
scientific.
I feel like you've heard multiple women say that.
I think it is a fact.
It's a fact that y'all are there more than men.
Yes,
that we mature.
we
Or
mature
develop.
and develop.
Yeah. No, that is a fact. That is a fact.
That's
That y'all mature. Yeah, for sure.
But
what does that mean?
Let me get to my point.
No, I was asking you.
So what that means is that we're smarter than y'all. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow,
what that means is that when we go into these situations,
we can wrap it up from there.
a lot of the times women just feel like they know what the right decisions are. Like we also have women's intuition, like all these different things. So what's the problem? So we feel like we're oftentimes right. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. I mean, we all spoke about this as a group before, but I think that is something too. Like going into marriage, I didn't think that I would ever be wrong. Like I'm not naturally, like Erica said before, I'm not naturally a person that is wrong in a lot of situations when it comes to like moral things or like just different things.
Yeah.
So when you get into a relationship and you're with a guy and you're like, oh wow, he's actually right. Some of the times it kind of catch you off guard because I've been right my whole life. There isn't much besides like dating guys that who weren't for me, but I'm not typically wrong in situations.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. I feel like a lot of that goes into play with the idea of who could challenge you.
Yeah.
Because you were like you felt like you were right because who's gonna challenge you? Whereas for me, I had to challenge everybody because I was looked at as the wrong one. So I feel like the two sides of the spectrum creates the the way that I feel that both of us need to interact, that we feel like we need to interact with one another. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because as we're having this conversation, I realized that I never really there were qualities that I wanted in my spouse, for them to have a relationship with God and for them to be beautiful. But honestly, and for them to know how to cook.
I was about to say that's a short list, brother.
Right, but I mean, like basic qualities that you would want, that a guy would want, a man would want in a woman. But I never really thought about my expectations necessarily for marriage. Maybe that was because I wasn't in a household where there was a successful marriage. Or maybe it's because I never really put much thought into that. So I think that once Erica and I got married, I really didn't have an expectation of what it is that I wanted. I just wanted us to be happy, love each other, and live happily ever after. That was really it. So because I never put much expectation into what the marriage was going to look like, I feel like that, I don't think that caused tension, but once there was tension, I was just set in my head oh snap, what's happening? You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm no stranger to confrontation, but it was just that the way that Erica and I deal with how we approach confrontation is different. And so there would be some times with Erica where she would want to discuss it right there. And there was a point in time in our relationship where I would just shut down. I'd be I don't want to talk about this right now because I'm frustrated. And at the time, I was frustrated. I was stressed. So I was just I don't feel like talking right now because I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. And I don't feel like just chatting or just talking at you. So I'm just going to hold what I have to say until I'm ready to share it. And that would just cause tension because she would be why can't you just get over it? Why can't you just talk to me? Why are you punishing me with silence? I'm I'm not. Do you want to know what I want to say? I don't even know what I want to say. So just back up off me. And so it's
Hulk smash! I smash TV.
What?
So it's just to me,
that's probably
it's that's exactly what's going through.
You want to know what he wants to say so bad, but that's what he's thinking.
It will be incoherent,
right?
Incoherent,
very mad.
It's just I don't even know how I feel. So it's I had to us having this conversation just helped me realize that I never really had an expectation of marriage. I just knew that I wanted sex and food, and so it's outside of those two things with the other qualities that I wanted in my wife, I never really thought about the union aspect.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I do think that anybody's expectations, even if it's not specific qualities, without realizing it, we expect something that we received when we were younger. So I think like in some ways you expected me to be like your mom. I'm not saying completely like her, but like there are qualities that like my dad has that like when I don't see you displaying them, I'm just like, why is he going so hard about this? Like I don't expect that because my dad is mad chill. You know what I'm saying?
That's natural. Yeah, that's natural
so I
for
feel
both
like it might
for
not-
both sexes. Like you're right.
Yeah.
If in certain expectations, I feel like are geared based off of the opposite sex parent.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So you might not have like necessarily thought about specific qualities, but I think in some ways you expected me to be like your mom.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I gotta dive more into that thought process. But I could honestly say that like marriage has definitely taught me, even with the expectations, has definitely taught me that like I need to be more sacrificial in my love for my wife instead of focusing just on what it is that I want, right? That I need to follow in the footsteps of Christ and love my wife in spite of. So even if I might not feel like she is giving me what I want at the time that I want it per se, to still like love my wife, because at the end of the day, like my love shouldn't be conditional to where just because I'm not getting the things that I want means that like, all right, cool, so I guess that I'm just gonna be foul and I'm just gonna ignore you and I'm just gonna be short with you. But like I have to recognize and check myself too, because there are times when I might respond out of that. I mean, I'm not gonna be fake, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if that happens, I'll be like, yo, my bad for like, being short with you or something like that. Like we make sure that we cultivate an atmosphere as to where we not only like call each other out, but where we're allowing the Holy Spirit to check us. Because at the end of the day, even if something that Erica's trying to tell me might not hit, God will speak to me and I'll just be like, Erica, I was praying about this, or like I was ironing my clothes, listening to this William McDowell song, and like, God spoke to me and said that you need to go apologize to Erica for that. So we definitely like to keep God in the midst of our marriage, in the middle of our marriage, so that he could be the one that's checking us, because sometimes the other person's words just might not hit the same way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that is a good place. What do you say, babe? To pin it. That's a good place to pin it. Boop. Thank you so much for joining us. I think if I could wrap up anything is just to leave most of your expectations at the door. I wouldn't say all of them, because again, I believe every person should have like core expectations that they have. Like we have the same faith. Like, there's going to be some things where you can't really like compromise on them. Yeah, like your non-negotiables. But everything else, honestly, you're gonna get challenged. Just throw it away, and you and your partner should be talking about those things and figuring out how you can meet each other halfway with them. And sometimes it's not even halfway. Sometimes you just gotta meet them the whole way. So we love y'all. Thank you for joining us. Remember to leave comments. If you have any questions, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, let us know. Share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell your mama, tell your granny, tell your grandpa. We love y'all. Peace out.
Bow.